Welcome back to the Anti Madden channel. We are back with the first installment of Punt Block Field Goal Killers. If you've played Madden online long enough, no doubt you've come across players that will actually run punt block or field goal defense either in the red zone or at the goal line. If you've come out in FB dive or toss or some other run play, sometimes you can actually get stopped by this defense. And sometimes it even stops the pass. People who run this as a red zone or goal line defense are saying to me, I have no defensive skill whatsoever. Please abuse me. I mean, really, who in the NFL uses punt block defense in the red zone? So to me, they're admitting they have no defense and they're counting on you not being ready for this type of defense. So in today's video, we're going to look at how to shred up the punt block or field goal defense. And the play we're going to look at is the ATL drags out of the gun eagle H tight formation. Sometimes it's also called buck drags in other playbooks. So the play I want to start with is the field goal block right. And if you see somebody come out in this, let's say you're in the red zone, you need that crucial 4th and 1 or something like that. And if you see somebody come out in this defense, the first thing you need to do is call a timeout if you've got them. Because what you're going to do is you're going to call your punt block beating play, which is going to be a potential touchdown. So the play we're going to go over, you could potentially just get an automatic touchdown running it. So it doesn't make any sense to come out in your play and you got a 50-50 chance of making it work. For example, let's say you came out in single back, like single back big or something like that. Let's see what we got. Let's say you come out in like ATL zone weak, right? And your opponent comes out in comes out in the field goal block. And let's say I'm just gonna run it, right? He just blows it up. Let's say I run it back the other way. I'm gonna flip it and run it the other way. And look, it just gets blown up. So the chances are, if you don't know your play's gonna work, there's no point in running it. Just call a timeout. It's gonna be an automatic touchdown, right? Because your opponent is like, I can't play defense. That's why I'm calling this defense in the first place. So you might as well take advantage of what he's doing. So I'm gonna call this. The first thing, and the thing is, this is gonna be a systematic way. You're gonna see as we go through. It's a systematic way to approach people who are running this defense. So this particular play has a couple adjustments. We're gonna put Fitzgerald on a slant, and you can see John Brown right there. He's on that post route up the middle. We're gonna put him in the flat route. So I would say the main reads we got here is Floyd, who's on that comeback. We've got Gresham, who's on the drag. We've also got Ellington over there. You see he's on a block and release, which is pretty nice against this play because you get that extra blocker. And then we got Fitzgerald on the slant. So the first thing you're going to want to read when you are going up against is, does he have defenders over your outside receivers? Fitzgerald and Floyd, you can see that there's nobody covering them. So if there's no defenders covering them, that means he's either in a zone or he's in an all-out blitz. And if he's in an all-out blitz, your first read is just going to be to Floyd. You're going to drop back, and as soon as you can, you're going to throw the ball, and he's going to be wide open. You see the blitz is going to actually come there, and Floyd is going to get in straight in for a touchdown. And that's it. Put Fitzgerald on a slant. Put John Brown on a flat route. Snap it. And you hit, and when you see it's an all-out blitz, pretty much Michael Floyd's going to be wide open, right? So that's pretty easy right there. So let me go and call the next play in this, and the read is always the same. So let me call field goal safe man. We'll come out, ATL drags. We'll set up our Fitzgerald's on a slant, John Brown's on a flat route. Now you can see right here, we've got defenders over our outside receivers. So now we know that the outside receivers are probably manned up. That is the clue to figure out that these guys are manned up. So now that Michael Floyd route, which was open, we're going to kind of go off that read. So as soon as you see somebody over Michael Floyd, pretty much we're going to move to Gresham and Fitzgerald now. So the reads like this. We're looking for Gresham to get open on the drag. But sometimes he can get congested down there and maybe bump into one of the defensive linemen and ends up messing up the route. So the second read then moves to Fitzgerald. So we're just going to snap it, look for Gresham. Didn't really like the read. I was actually slow on that read because Fitzgerald was wide open, but I was trying to make sure that Gresham was open. And the reason I'm saying that Michael Floyd is not open on this play, because if you try to throw it, he actually caught that, but that doesn't really happen that much, actually. And actually probably will get picked if I throw it again. So if I try to hit Floyd right here, exactly, it gets picked. So that's why I say you can pretty much just come off that read, because if it's manned up right there, you're not really going to get anything. So we put Fitzgerald, Brown on the flat, and my read, I'm just going to read Gresham. Right there, I end up getting picked right there. So you got to also make sure that the defender who's guarding Gresham is not out in front of him. So right there, he was out in front of him. So that means basically takes you to the read, which is Fitzgerald. So you look for Gresham, you see the man's out in front of him, and then Fitzgerald's going to be wide open over the middle. So the read against field goal block safe man is going to be Fitzgerald. He's going to be who you want to go to on this play. Looking for Gresham. Gresham's not open. Hit Fitzgerald. Wide open. Automatic touchdown. Let's move on to the next one. I want to try to run through these pretty quickly because it's actually pretty simple once you go through the concept of figuring out where your reads are going to start. So the next one is, let's go to the next one. The next one is the field goal safe zone. So now we have, again, we start with our reads. We say, okay, are there any defenders on our outside receivers? There's nobody over Fitzgerald, nobody over Floyd. Same thing, I'm going to drop back and hit Floyd. It doesn't matter if it's zone. You're going to get right in behind that zone coverage. And your opponent, if he's running this, he's just hoping that you don't have an answer to this play. But this is just literally drop back, throw. That defender down there, I think it's the defender off the edge right there, which I think is a DB. He is not going to be able to actually play because he's actually going down towards that flat route with John Brown. So field goal safe zone pretty much murders the Michael Floyd route, just murders this type of coverage. If there's nobody over the receivers, it's either a man or zone, and in both situations, Michael Floyd is going to be wide open for that catch down there. So let's move on to the punt block defense, which I believe some of them have. It's again with the same read, with man and zone. Let's go. Field goal block left, field goal safe man. They're the same exact thing. Left and right, it's the same exact read. Let's do field goal return. Not that that makes a real difference, but same thing. I don't see anybody over here on Michael Floyd, and I hit him down there. So that's pretty easy right there. But let's go to the punt block, just so we can see. There's a difference. There is a little bit of a difference when you start getting to the punt block. And we set that punt block up. So they might go, here we go, punt block. So here's punt block right here. Same thing. Is there anybody over or outside receivers? There's nobody covering Floyd, so drop back, hit him. Let's do the punt block man. And in this punt block man, you can see that all the defenders are pretty much lined up all across the line of scrimmage. So any kind of run or anything like that, if you don't know a play that's going to beat it, you might end up getting stopped. Let's try punt block man. That one gets run a lot. Now you see, immediately you see these defenders run out, and they're now over the top of the outside receiver. So that Michael Floyd, if I try to hit him, should be covered. Yeah, ends up breaking it up. And so that's not there anymore. So now it moves to Gresham and Fitzgerald. Now the last time we ran on the field goal, Gresham was not open coming across on that drag. Let's see if he gets open on the drag here. Right here he gets wide open. You hit Gresham and he goes up into a touchdown. So against that field goal safe man, Gresham does not get open. because that safety who was guarding him is actually out in front of him. But against the field goal block, or the punt block man, Gresham actually gets separation. Look, gets separation and ends up able. And if you got a fast tight end, that's gonna be an automatic touchdown right there. Now let's see if the Fitzgerald route actually gets open too. Remember, you make sure you put John Brown on that flat route. Let's see if Fitzgerald gets open. Fitzgerald actually gets open too, but you see that deep safety in the back. He ends up being there to make that tackle. So Gresham is actually the easier read on this. Now right there, Gresham gets bumped. You see that he gets bumped a little bit, so that will happen sometimes. He'll run into those defenders. So you got to be aware that if it's a 4th and 1 situation, maybe Gresham is not the read you want to go to. But again, gets that easy separation. And there's actually a third read against the punt block. If your defender takes away, even if he takes away Fitzgerald route and he takes away Gresham, you've actually got the running back blocking and releasing. Now right there, I could not get it off in time. Let me try it one more time. Should get Andre Ellington blocking and releasing. Look at the time I got. He's not even releasing. So I guess it's not that consistent where he will block and release, but you do have that option. But the easiest thing is just to hit Gresham. Gresham gets that separation. Bam, you hit him. And he runs it in for a touchdown. Now let's move on to the punt block. Actually, I think it's the punt return safe zone. Yeah, safe zone. Let's see, did we do all these? Punt block zone. Let's try punt block zone real quick. Punt block zone, same thing. There's no defenders over the wide receivers out there. So we're gonna make sure I set up my and I'm gonna look again. If it's zone, he's wide open. So it's the same. You can see across all the different plays. If there's nobody over those outside defenders, you can pretty much just focus on the Michael Floyd route or that comeback route and just hit it as soon as you drop back. The only time you're going to start to change your read up is when you've got defenders outside. So we're going to do punt return safe man. Now sometimes people run this defense. Most of the times I think you're going to face the punt block or the field goal. The last time I faced somebody running this was like Madden 25. Nobody's doing this because this is a pretty terrible defense. I mean, unless you're trying to stop the interior run, there's no reason to really do this. And it will just get burned. But what I found with this one is, obviously you've got the defenders on the outside, so you know that Michael Floyd route is not going to really be there. But the thing about this is that I found that Gresham route and Fitzgerald doesn't really get open. So if we look for Gresham, see, he doesn't really get open the way you like, and that ends up being a terrible play with him fumbling it. So if it's a man play, you still make that read with Gresham, but you're probably you need to see Gresham get serious separation. Like right there, that's decent, but still wasn't that great. I would make your read, I'd move all the way to that Fitzgerald read. So you look for Gresham not open, Fitzgerald's going to be wide open, and that's going to be a touchdown. And for some reason against this particular defense, that deep safety in the back does not react very well. So again, you look for Gresham. If you get separation, you like it, you can go there, or you can go to Fitzgerald, and it's going to be an easy conversion on 4th down or an easy touchdown if he gets in there. And you're just looking for Gresham, and either one of those routes are actually open. So there's not really a whole lot to do in terms of making your read. Now, if you want to throw to Gresham like here, you just got to make sure he's actually open, and he ends up getting in for the touchdown. The last one, which is the punt return safe zone, I think, which will be the last play to go over with this setup, and it's probably the easiest. So yeah, punt return safe zone. That's the other punt return. And on this one, you've got the defenders outside on the wide receiver, but you can see they're not actually lined up. So that's kind of a clue that they're not in the man defense. And if you try to throw to Floyd on this, see that defender's actually right there and will jump it and pick it. So just because he's not head up over the wide receiver, you want to stay away from throwing to Floyd if there's defenders outside covering those outside. So now we're going to look for Gresham on the drag. And the thing about this is that it actually does a pretty decent job at stopping the drag, this play. So you don't really want to go to Gresham if he dropped back in his zone. Don't throw to Gresham because he won't really get the yards, and it's not as I'd say the chance of success is probably lower. Actually, it's pretty low on this. If you try to throw to Gresham every time, look right there, he bumps in the receiver. You can't even get a yard with this. So pretty much go away from Gresham on this if you drop back in his zone. Now what I found is if you try to hit Fitzgerald too, you can hit it in there, but what will happen is he'll get cracked and end up fumbling. And the other thing is your opponent, he's probably going to be usering over the middle of the field. Any routes over the middle, he'll probably be there. And look, the defender almost jumps that one. So what I found is if you drop back in his zone, all you need to do is basically just scramble out and run for 4 yards. 4 or 5 yards is what you're going to get against this punt return safe zone. And that's it. It's not even anything other than that. You drop back, see its zone, just take off running. And this is Carson Palmer, who's pretty slow. And you just go and get that. If it's 4th down and 1 or 4th and 2, it's going to be an easy conversion for you. Just make sure you have a decently mobile quarterback, because I don't think Peyton Manning or somebody like that is going to be able to get a whole lot of yards. But most quarterbacks in the NFL today are decent in terms of mobility. And all you got to do is just, and that guy actually, Fitzgerald will actually end up blocking for you, which gets you about 5 to 6 yards if you are quick in making your read. So just drop back, it's zone, bam, take off running, and then slide before you get cracked. That's going to do it for this edition of the Punt, Block, and Field Goal Killers. If you like this video, give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for more Madden 16 content on the Anti Madden channel. Until next time, the Anti Madden is out. Peace.